So again, for the implementing rules and regulation, Quarantine Act of 2004, which is pursuant to Republic Act 9271. This is the Administrative Order Number Series of 2005. So for the continuation of the implementing rules and regulation of the Bureau of Quarantine. Under the Part 8, these are the requirements of sanitation and food safety for the domestic vessels, that was inter-island vessels or the airport terminal and the food service establishment. Under the Part 9, these are the requirements of cargoes and materials for transplant or research. Under the Part 10, this is the clearance of human remains, titled The Requirements of the Sanitation and Food and Safety for the Domestic Inter-Island of Vessels, Port and Airport Terminal, and Food Service Establishment. So under the Section 47, the Bureau shall take all necessary steps to ensure that the maintenance of the sanitary environment within the domestic ports and airports are including the supervision of the control of sanitation will be measured in line with the provision of the PD 856, otherwise as the Sanitation Code of the Philippines, particularly Chapter 15, the Port of Airport and Vessel and Aircraft Sanitation. So, the sanitary facility requirements of inter-island vessel shall provide the sanitation storage and approved waste disposal system. They shall maintain pets and venom control and provide hand washing toilet facilities and approve sewage disposal of the drainage system. The sanitation facility requirements of the port terminals, which catering points and food service establishment shall comply with the local ordinance, and they should provide the sanitation facility with food handlers working in the terminal. So under the Section 48, this is the food safety requirements. To enhance the provision of the sanitation of food safety in the area, both domestic and international port of entry include the in-flight catering, food service and establishment, vessels, and aircraft. This is to ensure the mandatory compliance of the good manufacturing practice. This provision and guidance that values as standards for the assessment of the sanitary shall comply with the physical and medical examination of the stewards and food handlers for the issuance of the health certificate and to make sure that the food safety requirements is mandated. And under the Section 49, this is the monitoring and evaluation. The Bureau of the Quarantine shall conduct a methodical examination and review of products and records of the program system with a detailed report of findings. These guidelines will be promulgated in establishing and monitoring the procedures in tracking system operation. They are the deviation from the standard requirements and establishment of the records for the use of the verifications. And under the Part 9, this is entitled The Requirements of Cargoes and Materials for the Medical Transplant and the Research. For the Section 50, these cargoes that are considered to harbor vectors of infectious disease subject to the regulation, the cargoes from plague-infected ports, fleet shall be fumigated prior to the unloading in the port. Other cargoes that may be carried by the vector-borne disease shall be subject to quarantine measures under the Section 51. This is the regulation of the importation and exportation of the materials for the medical transplant and research. Those organs or tissues of the human origin, the culture of bacteria or any live microbe or collection of organisms that may cause any disease to human or any insect, animals, or plant by the products, they can be potentially capable of transmitting a disease to humans, shall not be admitted, nor to be transported to or from the Philippines without any specific permit that was issued by the director of the quarantine. This is with accordance to the concerned agencies such as veterinary, plant and fish wildlife quarantine. These organ tissues of a specimen of human origin shall secure a quarantine permit or clearance that was prior to its admission or shipment. Under the Part 10, this is the clearance of human remains. Under the Section 52, the admission of human remains into the country shall be governed by the following regulation. This is that all the human remains arriving at the Philippine ports and airports that are coming from foreign countries shall be accompanied with the documents for the quarantine clearance. The death or caused by a highly pathogenic organism remains may be issued quarantine clearance under the following condition that these remain should be cremated before the shipment. And those human remains for the quarantine to foreign or domestic shall secure a quarantine permit before the shipment with the following documents. These are the death certificate of a true or copy thereof, the embalming certificate that was stating that the human remains have been properly embalmed and placed in a hermetically sealed and tight casket, and also the cremation certificate that was stating that the human remains had been properly cremated and the ashes shall be placed in a hermetically sealed urn or similar to a container.